So I'm videoing a drive I have to do down a road called Ramkhamhaeng Road, which is a pretty, I don't know, substantial road. What would you call it? As a sizable road. It's not a tiny side street, and it goes for quite a distance, so you could actually find it on the map and see what it's really like when you drive along it. And Google Earth it and see the things that I'm seeing. I'm driving down here, and I'm going to turn left at Srinagarindra, and then I'm going to drive down there to Paradise Park, which is where I'm meeting someone that I'm going to be working with next year to say hello. So the whole drive should in theory take me half an hour. It's entirely possible it takes me an hour, but just thought it'd be interesting for anybody that, I don't know, like I was completely what's the word, I had no idea what it was going to be like when I moved out here, and it occurs to me that I had this big intention of kind of showing everybody what Thailand's really like when I moved out here, and then I never actually got around to doing it. I started doing the whole Thai boxing thing and showing people what it's like to really train out here at a real gym, and then I started blogging about the food, and that's all been done before. I think when I moved out here though, I think some of the videos that I found most useful were people just kind of explaining what Thailand's like. It wasn't really about anything in particular, it was just, when you live here, how normal is it? Because I think that was my biggest fear, was that it was this strange country with weird letters in the names of everything that you look at, and a completely foreign language, and the traffic's crazy. I have to say, this is the nicest drive down this road I've ever done. It's not normally like this, it's normally an absolute battle. You can see there, there's a motorbike in front of us with 4 people on, I think, with a little girl sat in the middle there. They've all got helmets on for once, which is a big difference. Right, so I've got to move across to the other lane, and this is a little cultural tidbit. You just have to go. There's no politeness to the driving in Thailand. You have to barge your way in front of people, and everyone knows that that's what's going on. So after a while you stop getting annoyed at people cutting you off and not letting you in, and you realise that that's just how people drive out here. You start doing it yourself, and I'm not saying that occasionally you don't get a bit frustrated about it when someone does something really nuts, but for the most, you just, I suppose it's a bit like driving in London. That's the only thing I can kind of, I've not driven in London a lot, but I suppose that's the closest thing that I think it's like. You can see Srinagarindra on the sign there. That's where we're going for. So it's at 60, I think, is the turn number. So you see this guy here? Just pulls out. Yeah, it was actually quite a nice, polite pull out. I shouldn't moan too much about that one. In actual fact, no, wait. I need to actually go to the next one. I'm coming down the wrong road here. 65 is my one, I think. I'm going the next one. I'm going down by the side of the Grand Four Wings. So the Grand Four Wings Convention Centre Hotel is a fairly decent sized landmark. We'll pass that on the left in a little while. You can see here how the traffic just gets a little bit on it here. Yeah. And the motorbikes just drive wherever they like. Let's show you over this side. See over this side here? Ooh, Thailand. But I think one of the things that I'm liking about being out here now is that it's so totally normal. I was looking at a site last night because I wanted to learn how to pronounce the word spoon and fork. So I think fork is bad. I want to say mad. Might be mad. It's a word that is an English word but with a different pronunciation, and it means fork. Spoon is like Sean, like Chon. So I'm working on my pronunciation. Anyway, so I went to listen to these words because I was reading these. I'm trying to learn how to read the Thai writing, if you can see that up there, if it's not too backlit. I'm trying to learn how to read it, but obviously I'm not going to pronounce it correctly. Because there's so many variations when you read it. There's so many things that can affect the pronunciation. Just the letters aren't always the same depending on where they are in the in the sentence. If they're at the start of the sentence, that you pronounce them one way. If they're at the end, you pronounce them another. They can change depending on which vowels are around them. And sometimes the vowels for a syllable come at the start of the syllable. So that's all a little bit crazy. But anyway, so I was looking it up, and I went on a website with for, I think it was cooking utensils, and I just found this really quaint website that was all like mystical Thailand, and it was all kind of things that I've barely seen. I've only seen in like high-end places that are really, I suppose, touristy is the easiest way of explaining it. I'll just stop, I'll just take this corner nicely. And, see, I suppose it shows how comfortable I'm getting with the traffic out here, the fact that I'm prepared to kind of record this drive. Because the thing is, if you just keep chugging along, that's the other thing. I think you panic a lot because you take on a lot of more responsibility than you have to. Like this guy undertaking me here, this motorbike, that's his call. He's decided to undertake me, and he knows that I'm here, and he knows that I might pull over to the left. Look at this. This is right. Okay, so here's another top tip for Thailand: middle lane. Don't take the left. Don't take the right-hand lane. Middle lane, because there'll be some idiot on the left who's just parked a van or a bus stops, or a taxi just pulls in and stops. There's people always stopping on the left-hand side. And then if you can see the sign, I don't know if you can, up ahead, there's a U-turn opportunity just ahead. So on the right-hand side of the road, you get someone just doing a U-turn right in front of you. So you think in the UK that's the fast lane, not a good lane to be in. You can actually see, look right in front. You can see here, people doing U-turns, and they have to pull into your lane. Which in the UK, you'd be beeping, you'd be like, what are you doing, you're crazy. But here, totally normal that I have to brake, and I have to wait now. That's just normal. And then there'd be a few cheeky buggers who try and push in a little more than they should do, but if they didn't, they'd never get out. This is the ground floor wings. This is a fairly major landmark, but we are now on Srinagarindra. And Srinagarindra is going to take me all the way down to Paradise Park, and I'm going to get to see, like I said, I'm going to go to get to see this lady that I'm working with next year. But yeah, so what else would I have wanted to know about before I moved out here? So the traffic is nuts when you first start. It's weird. It's not they're mostly automatic cars, so that makes a difference. The fact that once you're going, you just have to like speed up, slow down. You can just not worry about gears and things like that. Another thing is the state of the roads. There's bumps everywhere. There's things in the road. There's that's really, it's not good, the condition of the roads, and you just have to get used to it. Things like speed bumps are likely to take the bottom of your car off because they're just too steep. A ramp that I took the other day to go up a car park nearly ripped the front bumper off the car because it was just way too steep. And there's no warning, there's no kind of liability to stuff like that. A lot of it is the fact that you're just taking the risk into your own hands. It's the opposite of this nanny state that Britain's got at the moment, where it's always somebody's fault, or you know, you're never to blame for your own actions. Out here, if you're walking down past street food and you trip over and land in boiling fat, there's no way that street vendor's hanging about. That street vendor's packing up and gone. In fact, they're not even packing up, they're just legging it. And you're never seeing them again. And you've got, like, you know, 3rd degree. Is that worse than 1st degree? 1st degree burns. You've got a lot of burns all over your body. But then no one cares. If you bang your head, there's a soft, that's the irony of it, there's a soft play centre where Jack goes, and there's a really spiky, there's like a table at his head height, and it's got a metal guard around it. I assume to make the table last longer, and it's a sharp metal edge, and it's at his head height, and they've put it right where all the kids run out of the soft play. So yeah, the soft play's soft, but as soon as they walk out and they charge out of there, his head is like running straight at the corner of this metal edge. I told him the other day, and then thought, why are you bothering? They're not changing anything, there's no way. What else can we say here? So this is Ramanayam Road, that's a fairly major road. It's advertised for Savannah Bhoomi Airport. That's the big airport. I should learn how to pronounce that, really. Savannah Bhoomi Airport. That's like a half-hour drive from where we live, so that's a pretty decent international airport to have on your doorstep. And then just up ahead here is Huamak. I want to say Huamak. I can't remember if a K gets pronounced at the end of a syllable. So this is one of these, some of these rules that I'm having to learn now that I can read a little bit. That gives you an insight into whether you pronounce that last syllable or not. It's either Huama or Huamak. I think you pronounce a K at the end of a syllable, but things like T's or D's, they're on there, but you don't pronounce them. You just use it to round off the vowels. So, Huama, if it's a D, it would be ma. Like you kind of get to a D, but you don't quite say the D. And it just kind of shapes the end of the vowel, because vowels are a big deal out here because of the tone and everything else. And again, that, whether or not you're finishing the syllable with a vowel or whether you're finishing it with a consonant, the type of consonant you're finishing it with, that dictates whether it's high or low or mid tone. But I'm still learning that. I've no idea other than it affects it. I don't know how it works. And I've watched... I'm in the middle of watching a video series about how to learn Thai, which is the best one that I've found. I should probably put it in the thing at the bottom of the video. Now, can you see his car in front of us? So we've got War Wen and a Gok Gai. War Wen, Gok Gai. They're the two letters in front of us. The letters are cool. It's almost like you say A for apple. Every time you say a letter in Thai, you have to put a word after it. So you don't just say A, you say A for apple. And you don't say G, you say G for golf ball or whatever the thing is. So a G, which is the one in front of us at the moment on this guy's registration, that's Gok Gai. So that's a big famous one. I think it's the first one in their alphabet. And that's G for chicken. Because Gai is chicken. Gok Gai. War Wen. What's a Wen? Can I remember? No, I can't remember. But like Lo Ling, that's Lo Ling. See, you don't quite say the G. You just round the N off into the G. So Lo Ling is monkey. So it's L for monkey. So here's an example of what the traffic is normally like in Bangkok. And you can see some of the big high-rise buildings. And I don't know if I've got much more to say. And I'm not sure this video's... I think this would be useful to me. If I'd have seen this video before I moved out here, I would have enjoyed it because, I don't know, I'm from Wigan. You don't really expect to be living in Thailand when you're... I'm 39. You don't expect to move out here. It's a bit, I don't know, tropical. What is it? And I've never been out here before we moved here. So if you're from Wigan and you've never been further than Germany, which I think is probably the most easterly place I've ever been to before this, then this is what it's like. It's totally normal. With significant differences. Yeah. Anyway, this is Huamak Rail Link train station coming up on our left-hand side. This is the most useful way to get into the town centre. So we've kind of driven around where I live, the Muban that I live on, which is on Gruntep Grita Soijet, which means Road 7 off of this big road called Gruntep Grita. And from there, the easiest way to get into town, probably the best way to get into town, is to drive down to Huamak and jump on the rail link here. There's a couple of changes you got to make to get anywhere complicated, but if all you want to do is go to Central World, it's just jump on here and it takes you straight to a place called Phaya Thai. That's the end of the line, and that's good. Yeah, okay, 15-minute video. That's longer than I know I would watch, but hopefully that's been useful. Cool.